I'm Amanda Robbins, and welcome to Women in Government. Today, I'm joined by Newcastle County Council President Monique Williams-Johns and Wilmington City Council members at large Latisha Bracy and Maria Cabrera. We're here to talk about women in the political landscape, not just their roles in government, but who they are as individuals beyond the job. Hi, ladies.
Hello.
How are you?
Okay, I'm good.
Good.
Thank you for having us.
Of course. So County Council President, I think we're going to start with you. You recently made history as the first African American woman to lead the Newcastle County Council. What does that milestone mean to you?
I think it means more to the community than it means to me, because I serve people. So I really didn't look at it as being the first, but since I am, I'm excited about it, and I believe that I am here representing those that came before me. And it shows and to the community that you can do it. There's a lot of women out there that are afraid to step out and be the first. And the opportunity that I have been given is great. So I look at it as an opportunity to make a difference and to show younger young ladies that they can accomplish anything that they put their mind to it. Although this was not on my goal, on my agenda. My goal is always to serve the people. So this just happened to be in front of me. So I look at it as an opportunity to serve, to be an example, and to stand in front, but behind at the same time. Although I'm in front, but I need the people around me to make sure that I complete the assignment. Because being the first is wonderful, but what are you going to do after that? But I'm excited, and I like to be the example. So if I'm going to be the example, I'm going to work hard to try to be the best example.
I love that. So speaking of being an example, do you feel any added pressure or responsibility in that role?
Yeah, I honestly no. Because I think being an African American woman, there's always pressure. I was raised under pressure, so I've always had pressure. So in being a mother of four, and being the oldest child, being a pastor's kid, there's always been pressure. So I don't think I've ever experienced in my lifetime not having pressure. My daughter said to me the other day, she says, "Well, Mom, you're putting too much pressure on me." I said, "You're the oldest. This comes with pressure, and we have to learn how to act well and work well under pressure."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's not something new. It's just something different.
That's it. Something different. Different, yes.
Gotcha. So I'm going to move to Councilwoman Cabrera. When you first joined City Council, so in your first term, you were one of only 4 women. Now we're looking at a council that's majority female, so 7 out of 13 of the members are female. What changes have you seen in local government for women between then and now?
Well, I'm happy to see that there are more women that are engaged, that more women are getting voted into office because, as the council president mentioned, it is a constant juggling of all our careers because in my case, I am also a mother of 4, so I am a mother, I am a daughter, we have our independent roles. I mean, I work as an independent health and life insurance agent. I was also working in my daughter's home care business, and you got to juggle all of that along with your political career and the expectations of the community when people want you to show up to things and you run around to be there, and there's times that you're not with your family. So I think for women in general, it is a bigger challenge, and we're still going home and have housework to do unless you can afford a maid. So we're juggling a lot. The men that are in these careers as elected leaders, they go home and they have wives. Someone's taking care of something. We're taking care of everyone, including the community. So it's a lot more challenging for a woman to run for office, be in office, and we are treated differently. But I'm glad to see that the landscape is opening up. I still dream of the day that we will see a president that is a female and that we do what other countries have done, that we have a city where we elect a woman as mayor. Because yes, we have tapped that ceiling and it's cracked, But honey, it ain't broken yet. We still got more work to do. So I encourage the young women to get involved now. Start getting out there, volunteering, be connected, because you are the future leaders, and we here are here to be your mentors. But we still have some ways to go.
Absolutely. And actually expanding on that, we all know you in these leadership roles, the community at large, right? But on paper, they say they're part-time jobs, but they often come with full-time responsibilities. Anyone who works in this space or has been in this space knows that. So how do you balance your daily lives with your roles on council and the needs of the community?
It's hard. It's hard. And there's some things going to give. And there's, like right now, the housework. I mean, my house is a mess and that causes me stress. So I have someone helping me with that. The children, thank goodness that my youngest is 21 now, but I had to drag him along with me to a lot of things. So something's going to give when you have to run around and do all of this. And in my case, sadly enough, I'm the one who's giving. So I made this a year where I'm going to focus a little bit more on my health and wellness. So you may not see me out there at all the events or the activities because I pride myself in showing up. And that is my reputation. People will always say that Maria Cabrera always shows up. But I think this year I'm going to have to take it easy because it's taking a toll. So it is difficult, and we really do try, and please understand that we try. So if you don't see it, it's not because we don't want to support you. It's just that it's a lot, and we are humans. We're not, I mean, even if we seem like super women, right? But we are humans,
Oh, absolutely. And then Councilwoman Bracy, you spent years behind the scenes in politics. So you didn't have this role, but you often were coaching people or helping people that were in these roles. Now that you're holding office, what differences do you see?
It definitely was a transition going from being staff and behind the scenes to the person in front, because it's one thing to give someone else talking points or tell them, go to this event, go to that, do this, make sure you shake this person's hand. But then when it's you, it takes on a whole nother life because there's an expectation from the community of me, not necessarily me behind the scenes helping someone else get where they need to go and do what they need to do. It becomes, what are your values? I feel like sometimes I used to joke and say, I went from being Tish from whoever's office I was in at the time to Tish. Now it's me. And so it's like, well, who are you? And, apart from the elected official that you stood next to, because now you are that person. And so there's a charge that comes with that and an expectation to your community that you're going to serve and serve the same way that you did when you were behind the scenes.
And to your point, have those expectations, with all the leadership positions that you're in now, do you feel like you're treated any differently than your male counterparts in those spaces?
I would say, I think in times past, there was a very evident, there are certain fields that are very male dominated. Government is one of them. It still is. I would say that in Delaware, we're blessed because we definitely have a dynamic group of strong women from the federal level all the way through to the local level. So it's a little bit different here, but that took time to get to that point. You think about when Senator Margaret Rose Henry was in the General Assembly, how many women were down there with her? So we stand on their shoulders, and so now, we can look back at the Hanifa Shabazes and all the other ones, the Stephanie T. Boldens, and all the women that paved the way for us to be,
Loretta
in these
Walsh.
roles. Loretta Walsh.
Absolutely. So the women you mentioned, a lot of them have been leaders in the community for a long time. I'm sure some of them have played a role in mentoring you on the way up. So with so much to balance in your personal lives and your careers, who do you turn to for guidance or support when you need it? And do you have mentors, role models, friends that you kind of run things by? It's to everyone.
I mean, I'll go first if that's okay. I was like Tish behind the scenes. I helped other people get elected. I worked on Joe Biden's campaign, Mayor Sills. That's how I got involved in politics. Twinbee Brown introduced me to television here in Delaware. I came here doing that from PA. And I was behind the scenes. So I never wanted to be that person to be elected. And people kept saying, you should run for office, you should run for office. And I would joke and say, yeah, I'm running for office. But it was Senator Margaret Rose Henry who at 7 p.m. on a Monday night called me and we spoke. And she urged me to run for the vacant seat on City Council at large. The deadline was the next day at noon. And I was scared to death. And I gave her all the reasons why I shouldn't run. And she gave me all the reasons why I should. She ended up winning in the end. And with no money, no signs, and no time, I made history as the first Hispanic woman elected and into Delaware politics. So yes, it's people like Senator Henry that I turn to, Stephanie Bolden, Hanifa Shabazz, Loretta Walsh, who embraced me as soon as I was elected into council and was there to help me, guide me, any questions. She offered her mentorship, and I appreciate them. And as Council Member Bracy said, it is on their shoulders of these giants that we stand, and we still, collaborate and speak with them and, talk to the Congresswoman or her sister Marla, who's there to help us and guide us. So we do have to kind of form that bond and come together to be supportive of each other.
I will say there was a point last year when everybody is out doing all of their events, and we would always see each other. That there's a kind of a silent bond amongst a lot of the ladies that are in these spaces when we see each other to give each other, hey girl, or some kind of encouraging word. And you know that there are people that are walking the same path that you are, that you can call and chat with and talk about, certain things that are going on. And I find that even with our, with city council, county council, there are people that that, if I'm like, girl, did you see such and such? They're going to be like, yeah, girl, what are we going to do? And so there's definitely that kind of bond amongst a lot of us that, we support each other, and we know that, I support you, you support me.
Yeah.
Yes. I want to go back. You were talking about balance. I was teaching a lesson this morning talking about refocus, because I found myself in a place in the last 2 weeks that my life was unbalanced, and I lost focus. So when you lose focus, you have no clarity. And when you have no clarity, that brings confusion. And this confusion means that you're all over the place and you really are working, but you're not getting anything done. So the first thing is we have to do is refocus, because balance, like Maria, I have 4 children. I run a couple of nonprofits, a helping hand, and living outside the walls, and, all those things that I do on the outside, taking care of our seniors, and, those are homeless. But when I get home, my house is a mess too. So, I was just telling my husband yesterday, and actually this morning, this is women's stuff, one side of my closet fell. So you can imagine everything that's on the floor, and it's pretty a big closet, but it fell on the next level. So that's now 2, which was my work clothes and then my casual clothes. So that means it kind of took me in a space that I had to refocus, because it took me off guard and it slowed me down. So I have a mentor for every area of my life. Like, it could be my finances, it could be my spirituality, it could be my political career, it could be my relationship. So I find people, and I ask God to show me the people that can help me in those particular areas. So when I'm challenged, I'm going to that individual or individuals that can help me and who are an expert in that area. And we as women, we're looked upon as a multitasker, but we as ourselves get tired. Marisa, coming home at 10 o'clock, if I don't cook like I used to, my kids won't eat. So if I turn the stove on at midnight, I hear these tumbling down the steps, because they've been conditioned that mommy can do everything. So that's why we need each other. So it's important that we do have each other. So if we're having a bad day, or, things are going on in our life that we just lost focus, we can make a phone call and say, hey, I need you to help me get back on track. I'm losing it here. So
that's wonderful, because I think we all need people to lean on, especially as women. Like you're saying, there's an added sense of, I have to take care of this or that. And you need, it takes a village, right? You need people.
And there's an endless supply of emails. And, hey, Councilwoman, can you join this meeting tomorrow at 10? And it's 4 o'clock. Like that chaos, the organized chaos is always there. So if you don't recenter and focus, you can get caught up really quickly into that.
And I just want to add that a lot of times, and we haven't done it recently, but we did it a lot in the last session, is that after a council meeting, we would go out and get a bite to eat or a drink and just kind of just have that time among ourselves as the women of council. And I will say that I personally treasure that time together with my colleagues when we're able to get together after a meeting and decompress.
And talk no business.
Yeah.
No,
Or
That's
let
nice.
things go and just say we may not always agree on the same things, but know that we can still have these relationships outside of council and be supportive of each other.
And that's important because many women they struggle with other women because they don't know who they are. Because you're in this position and you have that title does not mean you have discovered your purpose and who you are. So you have to make sure that you align yourself with other strong women who can pull you up and not try to pull you down, and will pull you next to them and be your support, as Maria was saying. And that's rare. And we're fighting for our lives here. We're mothers, we are entrepreneurs, we have so many titles.
We're fighting for other people's
Exactly.
lives.
So we need
Decisions
someone.
we
Yes.
make could be a decision of life or death
Absolutely.
when we have things going on in our community
Absolutely.
that, mothers burying their children,
Absolutely.
crime, housing, people that are ill. So the decisions that we make, that weighs on me as a person who is an empath. I feel I feel the pain of my city, which is what really motivates me to work so hard to help with those issues. But, emotionally, we take on a lot as well because we're feelers as women.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. So, in going with that as well, when you want to refocus, when you want to stay clear on your purpose and know who you are, you have to have things that you're passionate about and like outside of work. So, can you all tell me what any of those things are?
I like the spa. I like the spa, Haagen-Dazs ice cream, and watch Pretty Woman. We have to go to the spa.
I love the
Please,
spa.
I'll take you to
Josephine,
the spa
have
today.
you ever been in Women's?
Virginia. I'm sorry, we're having our conversation.
I connect with nature, like as a former Girl Scout.
I am not going out camping.
So, I'm not going to do camping either anymore, unless it's glam camp. But walking, like for my birthday this year, my daughter said, instead of going out and doing dinner and all these things, let's go. Not to say that it didn't happen, and we weren't going to do drinks, but we ended up doing it. But we did start the day with a 4.5-mile walk, and I felt so good to just be out there and to celebrate this day that my mother brought me into the world and to go out and do something healthy for myself. So I like nature. I like going out walking. I mean, I like dancing. I don't do as much of it as I should. But those are the things that I like to do. And I used to shoot pool all the time. But, you do have to kind of disconnect and do things that you like. And I visit a lot with the seniors. I
was
mean,
just gonna say the
just like
same
you.
thing.
I
That's
I
mine.
spend a lot of time with old people.
Yes.
I mean, I love them.
They're
And,
the best.
I'm there for them.
It let you know that,
And I play bingo. I love to play
They
bingo.
showed me how to play dominoes. I didn't know how to play.
Dominoes
And they
is
told
great.
me, you are bigger than the last time I
Play
saw you."
cards. I like playing cards now.
Yeah, so the seniors for me is my safe place. I go to the senior center.
But I'm a
and I'll
gardener
play.
too. I forgot that
No,
I do
I'm not
garden.
going out there with the dirt.
I'm growing
not doing
food that
any
I
dirt.
can eat and stuff like that. Tish knows I sent her pictures of my arugula. I have record-breaking arugula that's so big. So yeah, those are the things I do. I love my garden more than anything else.
Councilman Bracy?
I'm an introvert. So the best days for me is sitting at home with my dog, watching whatever is on, I'm binge watching something on Netflix. And then I also like to shop, and sometimes, a little bit too much.
I was talking about that, yeah.
Yeah.
Shopping.
I love, shop therapy, and I love the spa.
Oh my goodness.
Love a good spa day.
Oh yeah, I'm a big introvert too, and I have 2 dogs, so I
get
am
it.
right
Some
on your
days you just
on your
need to-
level. Yeah,
Disconnect.
just be on the couch with the dogs. So let's do something fun. What are some surprising facts, maybe, or like a fun fact that somebody might not know?
I used to be a makeup artist, and like a real one. Like I worked at MAC in Chrissy, and I was a regional artist for Tarte Cosmetics, like real, going to New York Fashion Week. So that's a fun fact. A lot of people don't know that.
I love that.
Well, let's see. People think I like to dress up and all that, but I'm really just, because I did, Miss America pageants and things like that. I really would just like to stay home and be in my shorts and a t-shirt and just flip-flops.
I love it.
I don't want to say that people don't know this about me because I did have a little cafe, but I am, like a chef and I'm an excellent cook. So I make really good chili.
I was about to say that chili.
Yeah,
we
so
have to have
they're
some
waiting on
chili.
I'm
my
waiting.
chili. I haven't
some
done my
chili.
chili yet this season, but I do vegan, turkey and beef chili. So I'm an excellent cook.
All together or just
No, I
separate?
sell
Okay.
this stuff, honey.
Oh.
But maybe one thing they don't know about me is that I was a pool shark back in the day.
Oh,
Pretty-
really?
Pool shark,
Oh,
pretty good at pool.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's pretty
see?
cool.
So that is a fun fact nobody really knows. They know about
Okay.
my food, but they don't know that I was a pool
So we
shark.
have to have a chili night.
Yeah, I'm very
And shoot
competitive.
pool.
And shoot
Yeah,
pool.
I love it.
very competitive.
So
I like to win.
So let's turn back to politics for a second. What is the significance of having women's voices, our voices, in politics?
Significance.
Well, for me, let's just say that I've always said that women have a different perspective. And I remember hearing the Secretary of State from the Dominican Republic who came to speak at the Latin American Community Center. She talked about the Dominican Republic and how more women are going to school, which means they're getting educated, but it's still the men running the island. So, and she talks about how men prioritize, like they think about the finances, they think about this and that, and then women think about the education and health, but they kind of discount the fact that we have to think about finances as well, because many of us are balancing a budget, especially if we're single moms or single women. So she said how men treat women in these positions and how the women in her country are starting to get to the point that they're going to be the future leaders. And pretty soon it'll be to the point that there'll be more women leading. And this is the advice that she gave, or this is the statement that she made that has stuck with me. You better hope that we don't become you with lipsticks and high heel, because we're not treated the same. So it is a challenge. So to be a voice, it is important that we be a voice. And for me, I have to be a Latina voice. Hablar en español, comunicar con mi comunidad en español. I have to be there to represent for my Hispanic people who are underrepresented, and especially the women of our culture who still live in these countries. They come here from different countries where the oppression of women is still prevalent. Women in these positions are not seen in many places, so, and especially in Latin America. So it is hard to culturally overcome the stigmas of women being in positions of power and they see you differently. So it's a lot. So yes, I have to be that voice for them.
Yeah, I think about my grandmother and my parents and those that came before us, and I always even remember as a child they always would have women do specific things and the men do other things. And I watched that growing up, but I watched then at home I would see my parents or my mother and women be more assertive. And I'm not here just for me. I'm here for those who are coming after me. Because it could be a single mother, it could be a married woman. There are a lot of women have put off their careers to raise children, but they have to see that you can do it all. You can have it all. It just takes focus. So I am here to represent every woman that came prior to me, and even 20 or 30 or 40, 50 years before me, and saying that we can, look, we birthed Jesus. I mean, that's like the biggest thing, but sometimes men, and nothing against men, they forget that we are the ones that can make it happen. We make it happen. We can look at something, and if it's a challenge, we have a solution for it. And that's why they don't want us up front.
We bring life into the world.
Exactly.
That's
the major thing. But we are here because we are givers and we produce. We produce. That's what we were designed to do. Oh, we were designed to do. Does that mean we're designed to do? So I am here representing the ones that did not or are not sitting in the seat that deserve to be in the seat. So I'm here representing them.
That's wonderful.
Everything they just said.
Councilwoman Bracy and Councilwoman Cabrera, you both have been in this space a little longer. So is there any advice that you would have for someone new to politics, like County Council President Johns or Williams Johns?
Let Bracy start.
know who you are and stand 10 toes down on that. If to anyone that, even when before I was in, on council, if people would come to me and be like, I'm thinking of running, why? What is your why? Why?
Yes.
And if you can't answer that clearly and succinctly, why are you about to run for this office? And then also have a very clear understanding of what the role is that you're walking into, then like that's step number one. Like you have to really understand and then be a seeker of knowledge. I think a lot of times we discount the past, or we say, oh well, that's the old school way, but there's something to be said about understanding the historical knowledge of what happened and why things are the way they are, so that you can then say, okay, well, we want to bust the system up and change it because it's not working. But having that, the wherewithal to understand that some of these systems weren't built for us. They weren't. All of them. Like there are a lot of people that we represent. These systems weren't built for us, but you can't just take a sledgehammer. You've got to be able to be strategic and understand what is happening, what roles you can play, what impact you can have, and then have a desire to make impact. Sometimes I think we run for these seats, not us, but some, to just say that they have a title. But you should come into this with a desire to make impact and find that one thing that you can, when you're, I'll never forget when I was working for Senator Tom Carper, one of the first things he said when he got into his seat on the Senate was, "What's my legacy?" So we've been here 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's
He's
right.
already talking about what's my legacy going to be, because that's where we've got to focus. What are the things that I'm going to get done while I'm here? And let's move towards those goals. And you could look from 25 years ago, the things he set out to do, he did. And I think that's part of why we're here. We have a purpose, and there's a reason that we were, God chose us, to run, and we got elected. So we have to find what that is and then work it. So that would be mine.
To thine own self be true. Know your purpose, as Councilmember Bracy said. Know who you are and be true. Be true to that. Be true to yourself and be true to those that put you here, because you're here today and gone tomorrow. For me, it's about, I think of where I came from. I think about my mother and the community service that I witnessed as a child, the people that she helped. This woman who migrated here from Puerto Rico. I was 3 years old, and who had to learn the language and didn't speak it well, but she got around. She learned how to drive. She drove people to the polls. She got involved in politics. But if there's anybody who needed anything in Westchester, my mother would point them in the right direction and physically take them there. And, she would bring plants back to life, healed wounded animals, and help broken people. And that's what I grew up with. So, and my grandparents did the same in Puerto Rico. So I've always had this wanting to heal and wanting to help others has been part of my blood and upbringing. So if I ever get to a point in my public service where I lose that, then I don't need to be here. And I think that that's the reason, and that is what Senator Margaret Rose Henry and others saw in me, and Mr. Gilliam Sr., who always pushed me and elevated me, and people like Mayor Sills, who continue to support me because they know that I am true to myself and I'm true to the people who put me here. And I think you need to know that. And if there gets to a point that you don't feel like you can live out that purpose, then maybe you have to kind of rethink where you are and what you want to do in life. And I think that's important when you're in public service. The day that I don't love doing what I do, I don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
And then I stop loving my community, and I don't think that's ever going to happen. And I appreciate the love they show me as well, especially through the dark times.
Yeah, I think
Because we have those days. We have our dark days.
Yeah, I do think it's really important to have that passion, because if we have leaders that don't have passion, then what are we looking to them for? So I think especially strong women, having you all to look at is extremely important for everyone.
I'd also like to just say one thing about that, strong women. we're not always going to agree. And you're not always going to fall on the same side of an issue with someone else. And I think that as women, we have to emphasize and encourage other women to be able to agree to disagree sometimes. Like, if we're being honest and real, we're not always going to get along, and everybody's not going to like you. And that's okay. Okay. But, we have to, be strong women and also level up enough to not be disrespectful and not combative and not, take it to a space where it doesn't need to be. Because we're so emotional, there's that knee-jerk reaction that comes with being a woman. And sometimes I think that plays into, the struggle of us, wanting to really say what we want to say and then being like, nah, I can't say that.
And let's face it, sometimes we don't always feel strong. Sometimes we have our moments. We feel broken down. We see issues and we see things happen that make us feel just bad and make us feel weak. And sometimes we feel like we have people depending on us. And right now, I'm struggling with that very issue. For me, it's always the loss of life. When I feel that a mother is burying her child, that to me impacts me to the greatest level. And I had to start becoming sympathizing versus empathizing because I was taking on the pain and that was making me physically ill. But it's hard. And sometimes we just have to be there for each other when we're having those moments.
And sometimes this work isn't fun. We sat through a 3-hour presentation on the water sewer fund. I've learned more than I need to know about the sewer system in the city. But that's part of the role too,
And I was going to say that many people look at these positions and they may emulate or want to be in that position, but they have to understand that with titles, it comes responsibility. With responsibility, it comes accountability. And with accountability, people have an expectation of something they want from you. So it's bigger than what you see.
Amen.
So we have to always be on our toes. It's so funny because when I go out, I always put my shades on and it never fails. It doesn't matter where I am. They'll even call me, I have like 3 different names. And I'm just like this and oh, hi. I'm like, what am I supposed to do? I'm shopping, I'm buying for my family too. But that's just something that we have to get used to. I'm used to it. But sometimes because like you said, be having a bad day and you don't want to talk. You can't say, how are you? Because then they'll say, I have a roof, it's leaking, my child needs some assistance in education. So, we have to be all to everyone, it seems like, all the time. We can't have an off day because they'll say, I saw them in the supermarket and they were not nice.
I never leave without makeup.
Well, I think there's
Never leave the house without makeup.
It's like they don't expect us to be human.
Never leave the house without makeup.
I went to the store and when I say raggedy, I had on like sweats. The shirt didn't match. I had an Eagles cap on and some flip-flops. Councilwoman Bracy. I was like,
I'll go shopping in North Wilmington. Someone will still find me.
Yeah.
And she was like, I told you don't go outside.
You can't.
I try to warn you.
I have changes of clothes in my car because you just never know. You can't hide.
No. Well, on top of that, I feel like, you're out in these spaces, people say things like that to you. And also as women, you probably have the sense that you want to help them. Even if you're not in the best mood or you don't look your best or whatever, you still feel that need like, oh man, I really have to help.
Absolutely.
So how do you navigate those feelings? Do you just kind of say, I can do what I can do? Or do you take it on?
The notes on my phone. I'll take
Yeah,
their name,
take
number,
some,
information, tell me and I want to get back to you on this. And I do.
Absolutely.
Follow through. I think the most important thing is follow through because that means a lot to people. And I'm sure that I've missed someone in the course of my career, especially now as I'm busier. But I think that one of my reputation was for getting back to people and really just responding. And I'm sorry for anyone that I've missed, but that is what I kind of build myself on was keeping my word. Say what you mean what you say.
People need to know that you care.
Yeah.
And what's important to them is important to me. Even though it may not be my area, I am not going to refer you to someone else. I will do the back information, the backdrop. I will make sure that I can get everything that you need So then when you leave me, at least you'll have the information.
She texts me is what she does. No.
And I think also
I am one of her
sometimes-
people though that she does
Sometimes
reach out
people
to.
just want to be heard.
Exactly.
People want to be heard.
Exactly.
And, you know, let them yell if they need to yell. Let them get it out, and then you figure out what you can
Yes.
do to help.
Mm-hmm.
Or, and if you can't, we're going to figure out who can.
Exactly. We're not going to refer to you.
Mhm.
And then you're going to be referred and be referred and be referred.
Yeah.
And that doesn't make people happy.
Right.
Our sole responsibility is meeting the needs of the people and the community. Doesn't matter if we don't have makeup on. It doesn't matter if we're having a bad day. It doesn't matter if we fell on the way into the supermarket. It doesn't matter. At that point, it doesn't matter. Only what matters is what the need is.
Absolutely. I think those are all incredible insights. And County Council President, I want to give you the opportunity to ask these ladies for some words of wisdom or advice.
A lot of things that I did not even know about them. So I have some private questions. Let's see. Do you think, well, we already know there's a difference in the county and the city. And my heart is that we all can work together.
Yes.
That's always been my heart.
Yes.
And, you know, I'm going to be talking to them even more about, because we're dealing with the whole individual. Education is not under my jurisdiction, but there's a child that needs some help. So we have to work together as a state. And I know these women will. They will help me, because they know I may call them and just ask them for something that's not even in their jurisdiction. And I know that they, in their hearts, they want to serve the people, that they will assist me, because that's what I'm going to do anyway. So they already know. I'm going to text them and call them and text them and text them.
And I recently reached out to her about needing some help with some resources for someone. And
Did I get back to you about the
we still working on it, but
I must have
she'll
forgotten.
reach
Just
out
thinking
to me
about
and
it
I
now.
point her in the right direction, and
Yeah.
she'll point me in the right direction. You know, I need someone who might be in need of a shelter, want to see how to get them into the Hope Center. And I
Yes.
said, you know what, I'm
That's
reach
what it
out to
was.
Monique, because
That's what it
usually
is.
I would go to Josue, but now with his new role, I'm not sure if he's
I have some.
my go-to. But you know, I reached out to the president, and that's good that we can help each other, because you know, you got the county, you got the state. Yeah, there's a lot of different jurisdictions, but you know, so this falls under that one, but the person came to me. So like you said, I want to be that person that provides the information for them. I don't want to send them, you know, pass the buck to, oh no, it's county, oh it's state. So I
That's
try to give them, I give them the resources. I want them to know they got the resources, they got to self-advocate a little bit as well, but I'll give you the tools and help you as best I can and connect you to the right people.
And that's so critical, because oftentimes, you know, we don't develop those kind of relationships that, like, what's important to councilwoman may not be important to me, but we can't think that way.
Exactly.
Yep.
We can't think that way.
And I think for so long, the state traditionally is divided Kent, Sussex, Newcastle, Wilmington. You know, so Wilmington has always kind of like felt like they were their own thing, but we're in the county. We're in
That's
Newcastle
right, you
County.
are.
So we're part of the county, and we need to do, you know, an even better job of making sure that we all stay connected.
Exactly.
Because the people don't understand that, well, that's a state issue. And they're looking at us, well, that's a county issue. Well, aren't we all in the county? Aren't we all in the state?
Yeah.
So we have to fix that. I'm working on it.
I love it. Thank you, ladies, for being here today. It was really nice to hear your experiences and your stories, and a lot of the things you said were incredibly insightful. So thank you for your service to our communities. I'm really grateful you were here today, and thank you for tuning in, Wilmington.